Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be talking about transit Uranus making a square opposition or inconjunct aspect to one's natal Venus. Now, the thing about transits that involve Uranus can be about freedom, independence, friendships, groups, clubs, organizations, disruptions, unanticipated events, aspirations, and goals. And when you have transit Uranus basically making an adverse aspect to one's natal Venus, well, it may manifest in the first I want to say, I want to elaborate on that when I say basically adverse aspect. What I'm saying is, of course, squares and oppositions, those aspects are adverse and negative in astrology. Now, when you're talking about the inconjunct aspect, that can be neutral, but it's neutral, but it is can have neutral aspects can have good and bad qualities in them, and also coupled with the fact that an inconjunct aspect can often require an adjustment, a transition. So it can cause some tension, some exasperation. So collectively, I do see this as an adverse transit. Now, basically adverse. Now, anyway, when transit Uranus is basically making an adverse aspect to one's natal Venus, well, it can manifest in freedom, independence, friendships, groups, clubs, organizations, disruptions, unanticipated events, aspirations, and goals. These things may conflict with love at this time. If you're in like a romantic relationship, it might be something where you might be wanting, maybe more freedom or independence, and maybe you have a love interest that's either playing smother mother, or it's like overly domineering. I mean, if you got like say Venus and Leo as an example, I mean Leo is very domineering. It can reflect that the people in your relationships can be that way. You may be that way too in your relationships, but the thing about it is it can be something where maybe you're trying to kind of get some space, and it might be hard to do so at this time. It also matters with the heart, with love, romantic connections at this time. Even if a significant other, if you are married, that those connections may be a little bit more sporadic and erratic at this time, more so than usual. And you might be more subject to financial fluctuations at this time. Keep in mind, Uranus is again very erratic and sporadic. It's unpredictable. You might, like, if you have like some kind of investment or something, you might be seeing more fluctuation at this time with it. The thing about this too is, this is about Venus can be connected with our enjoyment. And the thing is, you might be experiencing some disruptions in your life or some unanticipated events that might be conflicting with this, might be challenging with your enjoyment at this time. Say if a transit Uranus is in your third house as an example, maybe there's some electrical issues with your vehicle or something, or just something unanticipated happens which is affecting your local transportation, trying to get from point A to point B, and it might be maybe it's prohibiting you or causing some kind of delay in you having doing your things, whether it's a hobby, what have you, whatever it might be that you enjoy. Venus could also about the food that we love, that we indulge in, and that the food we indulge and enjoy. And it could be something too where maybe there's even some situations where again, going back to Uranus being connected with disruptions or some unanticipated event. Maybe it's something in your work life or instability in the work. Something changes with the schedule. It might even be something simple as not being able, to really, stay at home as much and enjoy that home cooked meal. Say if your natal Venus is in the zodiac sign Cancer, it might be that food that mom used to make for you, or something that was like a family tradition, and maybe you're lax in terms of time, or the time is lacking to be able to really sit down and enjoy and indulge in something like that. You might have to resort, like for example, to like fast food or something. But the thing is, the thing about Venus is also connected with our resources and possessions. So it may be at this time where you might have some shocking maybe developments in connection with these things at this time. It might be something where Maybe there's in a situation with your income, or maybe you're forced to sell some of your possessions at this time. I mean, Uranus is very fluctuating energy. It can be very erratic, and you might wind up acquiring maybe a lot more possessions at one time. Then the next moment, you might be selling them, or you're not acquiring anything. You're in addition to what you got previously. So this is very, Uranus is very unstable energy, to say the absolute least. Venus is also about peace and tranquility. So if you're trying to find a situation, say you're at home, you're trying to enjoy, some peace and quiet, and whether you're relaxing or sleeping or what have you, Uranus can be that disruptor to that at this point in time. And you might be, friendships may be getting in the way. It might be something where you're torn between pursuing some kind of goal or aspiration and trying to move toward your future, and perhaps just being able to maybe not do much of anything, just to relax, just to have your peace in your life. It could be just laying down somewhere in some desolate area. And say if the natal Venus is in Pisces, it might be some place where you're isolated again, some desolate area where you're just enjoying, like, say, scenic beauty, and getting away from the pressures of everyday life and people in general. And it might be something where it might be harder to do at this time. Venus could also be associated with art, so it might be something where if you're trying to create artwork or something, especially I'd say if you're a person that really is enamored with art, or you're in, whether it's a school or you're in a profession, or you do artwork consistently, it can be something where you might not be able to do as much as you used to when you have this transit again. Uranus could be connected with friendships. It can be associated with groups, clubs, and organizations. It might be some obligations with either the friends or people that are that are prominent in some group you might belong to, or an organization or club, that their needs may be pulling you away from that, or you're trying to do art and you're trying to pull yourself away from those people that are connected with Uranus that I just described. Now, another thing too about this, keep in mind that anatomically speaking, the throat, the neck, the thyroid, lower back, and kidneys, that corresponds with Venus. So it could be a time, if you've experienced any problems, with anything I described, it might be some kind of intermittent pain, with the throat or the neck or anything else I described associated with Venus. Anatomically with Venus. It can also be something like spasms, or some kind of twitch in some cases. It might be something to keep in mind that Venus is also connected with the voice. So it might be something maybe odd, maybe happens with the voice. You're having, maybe something's happening where at times you're either speaking too quietly or too loud, and it might be no consistency with this. It might be like a decibel level, maybe fluctuating at this time. In some cases, it might be something like if you're doing, like what I'm doing, YouTube videos, maybe some people are saying you're either too loud or too quiet, or it might go back and forth with that. It could be something too, looking at this transit, Venus is also associated with lawsuits. And something can come out of the blue, and it might be something really, like somebody, in some cases might sue you, that comes out of the blue. Maybe there's something completely unexpected, and maybe you're trying to deal with some other things that are Uranus related that might be making it harder to deal with those things at this time. Venus is also associated with negotiation, so it can be a situation where if you're trying to negotiate It might be the negotiations might be erratic and sporadic. Maybe you're able to have some for a little bit, and then things kind of get stagnant for a while with somebody, and you're experiencing maybe a delay for a little bit. Then they start up again. Hold on a moment, people. Sorry about that. I'm back. But anyway, um, and also, again, I mean, Venus is connected with our relationships. It could be a significant other, romantic partner, or just a significant friendship. And those things may be might be somewhat erratic at this time, and you might be seeing unpredictable behavior by these people more so than usual. That might be something, just shocking behavior to your detriment. Maybe somebody puts like in that, I forgot the name of the movie, but it was Val Kilmer had like an apple he dropped, the apple he gave the teacher in a movie, and the teacher dropped the apple in the garbage can, and it kind of, it'll explode like a light, kind of explosion. Nothing hurt anybody, but it could be, like some kind of like, practical jokester or something you might be dealing with this time, and things like that could be happening, might be more prevalent this time with this transit. Anyway, now, another way this transit may manifest, it could be where friendships, again, reiterating what I said previously, may conflict. Friendships may conflict with doing the things that you're enamored with and that you enjoy. Say if the natal Venus is in Scorpio, as an example, it could be maybe something with the occult, which can include astrology, recycling, deep research, investigation. As some examples, those might be things you might enjoy, but friendships and even goals or aspirations may challenge that at this time. Uh, Disruptions may challenge your relationships in general. Say if transit Uranus is in the 8th house, maybe there's something with unanticipated with taxes. It can be insurance, shared resources situation. May cause some, maybe completely out of the blue, and it might conflict with some of your important friendships or activities with lovers or a significant other even. Also, too, instability may adversely affect what you value, what is valued at this time. And say if the natal Venus is in Sagittarius, as an example, it could be, it might be something you value connected with the outdoors, sports, religion, philosophy, could be higher education, maybe advertising, as some examples. Another thing, too, Uranus is connected with computers and the internet, and even electrical things that are electrical. I mean, could be something with computers or the internet, or even some electrical problem. Might be more detrimental to your pocketbook at this time, more so than usual. Maybe they're more expensive than you anticipated if you do have any of these problems at this time. A love connection you may be involved in, relationships in general, might be more erratic and sporadic than usual. Say if the natal Venus is in Capricorn, as an example, it could be an older, mature, very responsible person or people that you may be involved with. It could also be, again, going back to possible physical issues with this transit. It could be that something intermittent, which is Uranus, pain or spasm or twitch, maybe perhaps in the lower back or the neck, or something near where the kidneys are located, or it could be maybe pain associated with it. And again, this transit can be sadly about disruptions in your peace at this time. And the thing is, anyway, that will conclude this YouTube astrological segment. Until next time, people, Edwin Learnard saying stay well.